Hello fellow introverts and welcome back to the channel. Now, what do we do when those entrusted with our very lives fail to provide the benefit that they are entrusted with? Today I have an instance of two healthcare professionals that failed to live up to that expectation. First, from across the pond, a British nurse was found guilty of killing 7 babies. But did she do it? Colleagues reportedly called Lucy Letby the Angel of Death, a hard title, and the Prime Minister condemned her, but in the rush to judgment, serious questions about the evidence were ignored. Now, last August, Lucy Letby, a 33-year-old British nurse, was convicted of killing 7 newborn babies and attempting to kill 6 others. Her murder trial, one of the longest in English history, lasted more than 10 months and captivated the United Kingdom, which published more than 100 stories about the case, called her one of the most notorious female murderers of the last century. The collective acceptance of her guilt was absolute. She has thrown open the door to hell, quoted the Daily Mail, and the stench of evil overwhelms us all. This case galvanized the British government. The Health Secretary immediately announced an inquiry to examine how Letby's hospital had failed to protect babies. After Letby refused to attend her sentencing hearing, I didn't know that was something you could do in the UK, just not show up to accept your punishment for murdering children, but what do I know? The Justice Secretary said that he'd work to change the law so that defendants would be required to go to court to be sentenced. Rishi Sunak, the Prime Minister, said it's cowardly that people who commit such horrendous crimes do not face their victims. I agree, sir. The public conversation rushed forward without much curiosity about the incourageous aspects of the story. Letby appeared to have been a psychologically healthy and happy person. She had many close friends. Her nursing colleagues spoke highly of her care and dedication. A detective with the Cheshire Police, which led the investigation, said, "This is completely unprecedented in that there doesn't seem to be anything to say about why Letby would kill babies. There really isn't anything we found in her background that's anything other than normal." The judge in her case, James Goss, acknowledged that Letby appeared to have been a very conscientious, hardworking, knowledgeable, confident, and professional nurse. But he also said that she had embarked on a calculated and cynical campaign of child murder, and he had sentenced her to life, making her only the 4th woman in UK history condemned to die in prison. Although her punishment can't be increased, she will face a second trial this June on an attempted murder charge for which a jury could not reach a verdict. Letby had worked on a struggling neonatal unit in the Countess of Chester Hospital run by the National Health Service in the West End of England near Wales. The case centered on a cluster of 7 deaths between June 2015 and June 2016. All but one of the babies were premature. 3 of them weighed less than 3 pounds. No one ever saw Letby harming a child, and the coroner did not find foul play in any of the deaths. The case against her gathered force on the bias of a single diagram shared by the police, which circulated widely in the media. On the vertical axis were 24 suspicious events, which included the deaths of 7 newborns and 17 other instances of babies suddenly deteriorating. On the horizontal axis were the names of 38 nurses who had worked on the unit during that time, with X's next to each suspicious event that occurred when they were on shift. Letby was the only nurse with an uninterrupted line of X's below her name. She was the one common denominator, the constant malevolent presence when things took a turn for the worst. One of the prosecutors, Nick Johnson, told the jury in his opening statement, "If you look at the table, overall the picture is, we suggest, self-evident, obvious in the process of elimination. But the chart doesn't account for any other factors influencing the mortality rate of the unit. Letby had become one of the county's most reviled women, the unexpected face of evil," one British magazine put it, largely because of the unbroken line. It gave the impression of a mathematical clarity and coherence, distracting from another possibility that there had never been any crimes at all. A Pennsylvania nurse who prosecutors say administered excessive doses of insulin to nursing home patients, 17 of whom died, pleaded guilty Thursday. The nurse, Heather Pressdee, was charged last May with killing 2 patients and injuring a third at Quality Life Services, a skilled nursing facility in Chicora. Months later, she was hit with new charges after prosecutors said she confessed to trying to kill 19 others in different facilities where she worked. In total, Pressdee allegedly mistreated 22 patients, some diabetic and others not, with dangerously high levels of insulin at different facilities from 2020 to 2023, the state attorney general said. Her charges include first-degree murder, attempted murder, neglect of a care-dependent person. She pled guilty to 3 counts of first-degree murder and 19 counts of criminal attempt to commit murder, the Attorney General's office said in the news release. Several family members of the victim have filed wrongful death lawsuits. The family of Nicholas Symbol said in a civil suit filed in March that Pressdee routinely insulted, berated, bullied, and abused him at the Sunnyview Nursing Home and Rehabilitation Center in Butler. They described Symbol as a brittle diabetic who had an anoxic brain injury, blindness, and neuropathy. These suit alleged that Pressdee would prevent the other nurses from feeding him or giving him water and would use derogatory terms in reference to his brain injury. Pressdee, who was also accused of saying another patient identified only as JB in a criminal complaint, would be better off dead. That patient, who was a nonverbal at Quality Life Services, was hospitalized twice in 2022 for low blood sugar before he died on December 4th, 2022. The Attorney General, Michelle Henry, slammed Pressdee for using her position of trust as a means to poison patients who depended on her care. I offer my sincerest sympathy to all who have suffered at this defendant's hands, Henry said in a statement. Attorney Robert N. Pierce, who represents 5 families, said in a statement Thursday, "On behalf of all our clients, we are optimistic that the resolution of the criminal case will help alleviate some of their suffering." A probable cause affidavit outlined the disturbing details in the case, including alleged text messages Pressdee sent to her mother discussing times she said she wanted to kill somebody. "Can I kill this man at Taco Bell?" she alleged. One alleged text message from April 6, 2022 read, "I'm gonna murder already." Another one read, dated June 10th, 2022. Another message discussed her patients and coworkers. In September 2nd, 2022 text message, Pressdee allegedly told her mother that she was going to murder my aides. In the message a few days later, she had complained about a patient who was yelling, according to the affidavit. "I drugged him already. I don't know how he is awake," the message read. On May 12th, 2023, Pressdee complained to her mother that the patient was driving me nuts because he was following her, according to the affidavit. "But I may kill this resident," the text message read. "I need to set some sort of boundary with him." Pressdee was sentenced Thursday to 3 consecutive life sentences for first-degree murder charges and up to 760 years for criminal intent to commit murder. This plea and life sentence will not bring back the lost lives, but it will ensure Heather Pressdee never has the opportunity to inflict harm on another person, the Attorney General said. Well, I have no doubt that we don't realize the difficulties that go into being in the healthcare profession. I mean, I know people who work both in the mental health field and the veteran field and just the general medical field. There's always long hours, high stress, and everything. But at the end of the day, man, these individuals, especially in these 2 cases, are helpless and they depend on you for their survival. And you took that job to be better than the masses. It is your job to do better, to hold yourself to a higher standard, to help people who can't help themselves. And unfortunately, in these cases, these individuals were not able to do that. Now, there's a lot more. those who are my age, we remember Dr. Kevorkian, who I suppose they called it assisted, but I don't know. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. You don't have to like this video. I don't like this topic very much either, but it is important that people understand, and the only time that you can really affect change and grow is having to deal with the difficult topics and come out with a positive resolution. So, that being said, I will talk to you nerds later.